From the debanking scandal to the introduction of digital currencies, and now we are seeing the final days of the use of cash as we know it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an extremely important video about our fundamental rights in this country. We've been talking about the NatWest issue, Coutts & Co. with Nigel Farage and many other people who've been cancelled. We've also been talking about the introduction of digital currencies, or Bitcoin as Rishi Sunak calls it, and now we are hearing that NatWest are taking it to a new level. They have introduced essentially a cash limit. They're imposing a cash limit from next month in regards to people who actually still require cash. As Margaret Thatcher said once, without economic freedom, you cannot actually have fundamental freedoms in this country. And cash is still king. And we must protect it. There are a lot of people who still rely on cash. And if you are going out there limiting people's access to cash, to their own money, by the way, it's not just random cash, it's their own money in their own bank accounts, where are we going to go from here? Now, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of elderly, there's a lot of people depending on their professions who are still using cash. Doesn't mean they are criminals, doesn't mean they're laundering money, doesn't mean they're going to refuse to pay taxes. They are innocent people, hard-working people, and now apparently our establishments are going after them in the name of security, financial security. Okay, so the high street bank NatWest has told its current account holders that it is bringing in new conditions, giving us the right to set limits on inbound and outbound payments. In a leaflet, it said that it could include imposing daily and annual cash withdrawal and deposit limits, and limiting the amount of cash paid or taken out. So until now, we've always had a bit of daily cash limits from actual cash machines, cash points. But if you could actually go into the bank, the actual branch, you could explain and you could get withdraw more cash. The annual cash limit, it's taken it to a whole new level. But if you get into an emergency situation, no, you cannot use your own money, because as we've always been saying, the new monetary system that we have, well, it's not new, for the past 100 years, almost 100 years, especially after the gold standards. The money that you see on the screen at a cash machine, or just when they talk about it on TV, it's not real money. It's not the actual money, physical money that we have. It's all fake money. It's digital. And now, if everybody goes out there and try to withdraw cash from banks, well, they'll be stopped. It's interesting that there are a lot of talks about potential financial crash, the next financial crash, or situations, crises. It seems like they want to be prepared to avoid the situation that we had in 2008 or in Greece in 2010, 2011, where a lot of people went to withdraw cash. They don't want that to happen. So they are already preparing for that, for example. The FCA, Financial Conduct Authority, has been given powers to oversee the new rules, including putting limits on how far people have to travel to get their money. How far people have to travel to get their money? Well, that's just insane. Now, the Prime Minister has rebuffed the calls from Tory MPs to force businesses to accept coins and notes, saying that businesses should be able to choose the forms of payments that they will accept. So there's no oversight with that either. We also have some reaction from Nigel Farage on this issue. Let's go to Nigel.
NatWest, everybody's favourite bank. A leaflet just come through people's doors. Tomorrow begins today. Well, that sounds nice and optimistic. Let me give you a vision of what their tomorrow is. From September the 11th, NatWest will be limiting cash that you can deposit and cash that you can take out. And they keep the absolute right to refuse cash. They even keep the right to refuse checks. Basically, they want everything to be electronic. And just say you're abroad and you want, a few dollars or euros or whatever it may be to pay tips, etc. Do you know what? You go to an ATM, get some money out, they charge 2.75% on that. So actually it's a huge disincentive to taking cash out anywhere you are in the world. The cashless society is coming. The big banks want it. And with that, there will be control on how you can spend your money. We already have legally binding targets for carbon emissions for countries, companies, carbon trading schemes. It's not going to be very long before you have your own personal carbon limit. And what better way to stop you buying that extra flight, that extra holiday, than being able to control what you spend? Do take this seriously. Now look, I'm very pleased that GB News have launched their Don't Kill Cash campaign, but cash is legal tender. And I really think Jeremy Hunt, Andrew Griffith, all those ministers, we need to move on this very, very quickly. From September the 11th, it could be impossible to pay cash into your NatWest account, to get cash out of your NatWest account. And you can bet your bottom dollar that all the other banks will follow in short order. We need the government to stand up and make it clear that cash is legal tender. The alternative, and I've said it before, but it's true, the alternative, if everything you do is controlled by the banks, frankly, it won't be very long before, as they monitor your social media, we head towards communist China and a social credit system where only if you obey the prevailing orthodoxy of the day can you take part in life. We must not allow cash to disappear. We need the government to act, and very, very quickly.
Now, the sad reality of the situation is about 3 years ago, I warned about these terms and conditions, and we made a video on this channel and it got a lot of views, but nothing happened. And it wasn't about predicting the future in terms of digital currencies, because those ideas were already out, or cashless society, those were already happening. This was about British banks. We showed some evidence from Lloyds Bank and other banks with the letters getting ready for the new terms and conditions. Some MPs watched that video, and I talked to the MPs, but they didn't do anything about it at the time. The other reality is cash is going to go away. The world is changing, unfortunately, but there is a new way to fight back. By the way, none of this would have happened in terms of acceleration of these plans, globalization, if it weren't for the reaction that central banks had towards cryptocurrency, things like Bitcoin. When Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies came up as an idea, banks freaked out and they tried their best to crush it, and they did crush it. So right now, at best, you can use cryptocurrencies as an asset investment. You can't use it as a currency in a normal world, right? There are exceptions. Some places you can use it as currency. But so they basically crushed cryptocurrencies, but they decided to use those ideas to go with digital currencies so that they could centralize it. But cryptocurrencies in the future could be operated like the gold standards, because they are also limited like gold. So crypto could become the new cash in the new age going forward. So if you want to fight back, there is going to come a time that's going to come that cash is going to go away, unfortunately. Physical cash, they're going to stop printing it. But we can, if you want to have a soft financial revolution in the West, there has to be a movement to push for the use of cryptocurrency to have some stability for our people and our pockets, because we cannot rely on central banks for everything. Things could go completely wrong, whether it's a tyrannical government or whether it's a collapse in the system. What are we going to do then? That's where we are now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to have more updates for you guys throughout the day, every half an hour. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.